Proposal, which seems to be now the dominant position being discussed, is a panel of 3 eminent persons who would, instead of 1 public interest advocate, it would be 3. And that panel, in turn, appointed by a community panel, which included representatives from the MEAA, representatives from the Press Council, and representatives from the Order of Australia Council. Is that right?
Well, this is one of the difficulties with this. It is a little bit of a moving target, but essentially that's the theory. And I agree with that principle.
You don't think a panel appointing a panel is looking a little absurd?
No, not at all. Not at all. Because the main objection from the Kim Williams of this world was that the minister would appoint the panel. If you have a group of eminent citizens that represent larger groups across Australia, you're actually bypassing the political appointment and putting in place a panel of 3 to oversight the advocates' roles.
It's all getting a little sort of long-winded, though, isn't it, the process?
Well, that's been one of the problems with this. It was a take it or leave it a week ago, and now people are being asked to make very important decisions in a hurry with a mixed bag of options, and we're trying to nail down those options and then get agreement of 5 people in relation to those options. So that's Parliament. It's not that simple.
It's not tidy. The 2 key points are the public interest advocate overseeing mergers and acquisitions, and another one over the public interest advocate overseeing the Press Council. So leaving aside panel or no panel, is it true to say that support is not there for the oversight of the Press Council, that bill will almost certainly be defeated?
Well, I don't think you can say that yet either. Probably most likely, but nothing's dead till it's dead.
And one of the votes that seems to be moving around a little is Craig Thompson. He had declared he wouldn't support this package earlier. Is Craig Thompson now actively, as far as you can tell, considering passing these bills?
Well, I haven't spoken to Craig since yesterday morning, so yesterday morning I think he was reluctant to support the Bob Catter model, but I think the model's changed a little bit since then. So whether there's some negotiations going on with Craig Thompson in relation to those changes, I'm not privy to them.
I know this is fuzzy, and I'm sure it's difficult for everyone listening to follow too, but can you give us what you think the latest model on the table is?
Well, essentially a panel of 10 to 12 eminent Australians appointing a smaller group that the minister, the government of the day, has to accept in relation to those roles of diversity and advocacy for the Press Council. So no ministerial interference, which was the front page of the paper. Conroy's going to rule democracy and ruin it as we do it. That won't happen under this model. It actually comes from various groups across the community, and I think it's a relatively simple, clean model, and it does most of the things that people are saying should be done. Have we
lost sight of the question, though, of whether we need that?
Well, no, I think we do. I think most people would agree that we do. There are very real concerns out there about the diversity of ownership in terms of media, for instance. If Woolworths bought Coles tomorrow, would we all be overjoyed? Would the consumer actually win? Well, I think we've got to ask the same question in terms of the media diversity issues as well. There's some significant issues in this bill. It's not just all about who the advocate is. That's the regrettable part of this. I think even though it's being dragged out, and I know people want instantaneous politics in this place, but I think given the positioning that's there now, another week on this of rational negotiation and discussion could in fact come up with something that could work, and it might be based on the Bob Catter model.
But you're not being given another week on this.
Well, you never know. You never know in politics.
Well, talking about the politics of this, Julia Gillard certainly has a lot riding on this deal, as Paul Bongiorno was just discussing, possibly including her own leadership. Does that make you more inclined to support the package? Is the Prime Minister's leadership a consideration of yours?
No. I don't think it's terribly under threat anyway, but I can't get into support or not supporting issues on the basis of someone else's future. That's not the right way to operate. And I'm only one vote in this. I'm a supporter of the Bob Catter model in some form or other. So I'm probably not the number that's at risk here. There are others who are still debating whether that particular model fits their views or doesn't.
So who would you say are the numbers that are at risk?
No, I can't speak for others.
This has been inextricably linked to the leadership, whether you think it should be or not. You're not a member of the Labor caucus. You are a member of this parliament, though. Would it be in everyone's best interests for the Labor leadership to be sorted out as soon as possible?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, well, it's a one-way street if they persist in this business that's going on at the moment, and it is going on. There's no doubt about that.
A one-way street to?
Oh, oblivion.
Well, the polls would suggest oblivion looms anyway for the Labor Party. Do you think if the only way to quieten this down is to have a leadership vote and possibly change leaders, do you think Labor should get on with that?
Well, I don't think a lot about it. My job is to operate as a parliamentarian in this particular parliament, representing a certain group of people in a hung parliament. So, I wouldn't attempt to second guess what's going on in the minds of some people in the political parties. I watch them with some degree of interest and fascination. And
Tony Windsor, just finally and briefly, do you welcome going head-to-head in your electorate against Barnaby Joyce if that's the outcome of the National Party pre-selection?
Well, he said last night he was running, told me, so I presume he's just bypassed the locals and pre-selected himself.
Well, I think he's running for pre-selection. If they pre-select him, would you welcome that contest?
Oh, I'd welcome anybody. I quite like Barnaby. I suggest he talks to his mother this time because she wouldn't vote for him last time he was running.
Tony Windsor, thanks very much for joining us.